Everyone, welcome to the CA3 Climate Action and Advocacy on the Airwaves podcast. My name is Simon Evans and I welcome you. This project was undertaken with the financial support of the University of Calgary's Mobilizing Alberta Climate Action Grant Program. We are broadcasting on 90.9 FM CJSW in Calgary. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. The City of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. I hope you enjoy your time here on the airwaves as we dive into the world of climate action.
Ugh, I can't believe this broke already. I just got it. I already have to throw this away. Is there anything I could do to fix this? I'm not sure what to do.
We have all been there, but what if your community had volunteers to help you fix your broken items? Across the globe, repair movements are gaining more and more traction. The first repair cafe came to life in 2009 in Amsterdam. It was initiated by Martin Posta. He was determined to bring his idea to life, so he applied for funding from the Dutch Ministry for the Environment. The funding allowed him to organize repair cafes, but also create the Repair Cafe Foundation, which helps cities and towns to create their own repair cafes. There have also been other programs and initiatives created to join the repair movement. One of these being Repair Exchange Calgary, which promotes repair, sustainable consumption, and community through their events and programming. This is a project that I have had the opportunity to work on, and through those experiences, I have learned firsthand the significance and value of repair, and how it can be a component of sustainable and greener cities. My name is Natalie Calles, and I'm a social work student currently completing my bachelor's degree. Throughout the duration of my education, I have had opportunities to work directly with communities and to facilitate programming. One of my favorite programs that I have worked on is Repair Exchange Calgary, an initiative coming out of a non-profit grassroots organization called the Arusha Centre in Alberta, Canada. So how does this program work? First, the Arusha Centre works to create connections and collaborations with community agencies. This can range from community associations to affordable housing to social programs and so on. The next step is to recruit community volunteers that have a variety of different fixing skills. These are our fixers. The skills can be anything from bike repair to clothing repair to small household appliances. At the event, each fixer will have a workstation and tools they can use to repair, which are provided by the Arusha Centre. Then, anyone is welcome to bring their broken item in for a free repair. Repair Exchange Calgary is hoping to engage as many people as possible and bring them into the conversation of why repair. In the past, when people broke their items, the norm was to fix that item. Because of that, people had a lot of repair skills and know-how around tools. Fixing wasn't seen as something daunting, more so something that had to happen if you wanted to use your item again. However, nowadays, if something is broken, we throw out the item and buy a new one. Out of sight, out of mind. But every time we throw something out, it doesn't just disappear, it goes into a landfill. In a thesis written by Leanne Pitt, where she explores why people choose to repair the items, she shared that annually worldwide we produce 2 billion tons of waste, and it is estimated that in the next 30 years, waste production will increase by 70%. The way we currently produce and consume products is not sustainable. Our current way of production can be defined as a linear economy. This refers to when production and consumption follows a straight line. At the beginning of the line, we take new resources and use these resources to produce an item. We then consume the item and throw it away. The way we purchase and dispose of our items has led to overconsumption. When we indulge in overconsuming, we neglect the impacts that it has on our world and environment. It is also important to note that not everyone in the world consumes products the same way, and those who consume the least are often the first to feel the impacts of climate change from overconsumption, like the impact of pollution in communities around the world due to current production processes and wastes. In a 2022 press release done by the United Nations Children Fund, they noted that around the world, over 20 million children are experiencing increased levels of lead within their blood, with lead being one of the most toxic and damaging pollutants. Meanwhile, in countries like Finland, their environment is known to be one of the healthiest in the environment, and yet they have high rates of e-waste, overconsumption, and emissions. This is an example of climate injustice. Hearing about all the damage and injustices in the world can leave people feeling heavy and weary. We can become deterred from taking action and feel like there is nothing that we can do. There can be even a potential for us and our communities to slip into apathy in regards to environmental issues and injustices. However, it's important to remind ourselves how much power each one of us have and how we are even stronger together as a community. Although it can sometimes seem there isn't much we can do, there is. When thinking about how to challenge our current consumption mode, a linear economy, we can look towards a sustainable alternative, a circular economy. A circular economy is a model of production in which the aim is to keep the product in use as long as possible. This can be done through reusing, repairing, lending, and reducing the items that we use. But it's also a shift in how we manufacture and produce our items, so we aren't extracting enormous amounts of resources and creating plastic islands in the ocean from all the waste. By changing our consumption habits, we can significantly reduce the amount of garbage and pollutants that are currently harming the planet. And in a recent survey regarding Canadians' shopping patterns, completed by the Government of Canada, 80% of respondents reported the importance of a sustainable lifestyle. 70% of respondents look for symbols or logos on the groceries they are purchasing for indication of sustainable manufacturing processes. This data lets us know that there is an interest by Canadians in changing their consumption habits and moving towards a circular economy. Now, while there are a bunch of unique ways to activate a circular economy, the one being focused on within this podcast is repair. Repair can be a powerful tool. So powerful, in fact, that some companies only allow you to repair the item you purchased exclusively with them, or companies will make it so the piece that needs to be repaired is inaccessible. These companies will also use methods of planned obsolescence, where they intentionally design an item that will break down over time. But why would companies do that? In order to put even more money in their pockets and promote more consumption. By limiting our access to fixing our own items, we become more and more reliant on businesses to provide services, and we also lose our skills in the process. Now that repair skills aren't passed along or taught generationally, there is no guidance on what people should even do with their broken items. Those businesses are then also able to price up the cost of repair or deem items just simply non-repairable. This all creates a barrier to repair, which is why there has also been a push for a right to repair movement. This movement refers to pushes within the legislation that ensures that consumers have the right to self-repair. It's strange to think that we have to fight for our own ability to fix an item that we own. A recent win within this movement was in 2023 when Bill C-244 passed, which adapted the current Copyright Act to give people the ability to bypass technological protection measures when repairing a product. This is a step in the right direction for the repair movement, and hopefully with more repair events, there becomes more interest as well. In 2023, there were 6 repair exchange events. From these events, we have had 201 items brought to an event. Some of the items that were brought to be fixed include clothes, toys, lawnmowers, Christmas lights, hairdryer, and so much more. There were a total of 120 fixed items. That is 120 items that avoided the landfill and got a second life. For participants who had items that were unable to be fixed at the event, They were explained possible next steps that they could take. A few people swapped contact information with the volunteers and were able to coordinate a separate time to fix the items. Throughout these events, participants have shared with me their excitement and the value they have for the program once they participate. When joining a repair exchange, participants get the opportunity to learn new repair skills. The community volunteers are eager to share their skills and to help participants fix their items. Volunteers are recruited through a variety of methods, such as word of mouth, events, social media promotion, and so on. The fixers are welcome to bring their own tools, but the Arusha Center provides tools and consumables to be used at each of these events. When you walk into a repair exchange, you will be greeted by a volunteer and asked to complete a form. The forms include detailing the broken item you are bringing in and a waiver. These forms help the repair exchange to keep track of what items are being brought in and which are successfully able to be fixed. Once the forms are completed, you are connected with the fixer who will best be able to support your needs. Sometimes the fixes are easy and sometimes they are a bit more complex, but they are still manageable. The fixers do their best to explain repair processes while simultaneously fixing the item. It's a very hands-on experience that is open to any skill level. Based on an experience survey, more than 50% of people who join a repair exchange say they learned a new repair skill. These are transferable skills that are learned and can be used in a wide array of settings, such as bike maintenance, learning how to keep your bike up to speed, or zipper repair. We have all had a zipper break on us, which makes the item non-functional regardless of the rest of the item. But fixing zippers can be as simple as grabbing the right tool and replacement piece to make it like new again. The repair skills learned can also be more niche as needed, like learning how to maintain and change pieces on your KitchenAid stand mixer. When these items are fixed, people tend to be pretty overjoyed, especially because now they were a part of that process. Feeling inspired, they begin to think about other things they could fix at home. Conversations begin to develop into questions. I wonder why I didn't think about fixing this before. And some companies don't let you repair your own item? And why don't we repair anymore? These conversations are the stepping stones which lead to more action. One of the benefits of repair exchange events is that they are free. Participants do not even have to register for the event. They can simply walk in on the day of with their item and are matched with a fixer. This is very helpful as it allows people who see the event on the day of time to go back home and bring their own item if they wanted. We have had this happen before, where neighbors had no clue the event was happening and they quickly just rush across the street and bring an item to the event. Because these events were free and they did not have to purchase a new item, this experience was at no additional cost to them either. This minimizes typical barriers to repair events, as often costs are what turn people away from repair. These events prioritize engaging diverse populations and doing their best to ensure accessibility when participating in the program. The survey feedback reflected the fact the event being free was also very important to a majority of the participants. It also allowed people the opportunity to engage with the program in a low-stakes way. People may be unsure about participating, but they are more willing to try if there is no fee associated. Participants enjoy being able to connect to a community volunteer that walks them through how to fix their broken item. Additionally, the fixer shares tips and advice for what they can do the next time something like this happens. Participants who reported learning new skills noted that gaining knowledge and experience in fixing their own items has filled them with a sense of pride. Oftentimes, they believed they would be unable to fix their item and it had to be thrown away. However, by coming to the event, they were able to challenge their own beliefs and limits that they placed on themselves. Participants have expressed feeling empowered after fixing their item. When participants are working on getting their items fixed, there is often a lot of conversation centered around consumption habits. They begin to question why repair isn't more regularly used within their day-to-day, or how items can become very wasteful if they are not able to be repaired. They even ask why there aren't more events like Repair Exchange Calgary happening. This event is a great way of connecting and educating at the same time, which encapsulates community-based learning. By holding these events in public community spaces, it allows the opportunity for unique connections that might not have happened otherwise. What's really great about Repair Exchange is that the reason you may be initially interested in going is because it's instantly rewarding. You bring your broken item, you learn how to fix it, and you get it fixed for free. But then you meet your fixer, and suddenly you meet someone new in your community, someone who is kindly helping you learn new skills. You also now know someone who you can reach out to for guidance and support. You also meet your other neighbors who brought an item to the event. You learn who they are, where they live. You're a bit surprised you haven't met each other sooner, as you both have lived in that neighborhood for years. And then you both begin to mutually complain about how things break nowadays. It's filled with laughter and warmth. You begin to talk about other topics and learn more about each other. Suddenly, you leave the event with a fixed item, new friends, and new ideas. It's quite lovely to be a part of. I have seen someone who has brought in their great-great-grandmother's hairdryer. She explained that they don't make machines like this anymore, and they haven't in a while. So no one offers a repair service for such an item. She explained that it had meant a lot to her and reminded her of her family. However, she had nowhere left to go to try and fix it until she heard of our event. She took a leap of faith and brought the item in, and with the help of a community volunteer, she was able to get it fixed. Other people have brought in an array of beloved items, such as favorite jeans, Christmas decorations, stuffed animals, smoothie blenders, and much more. Some more highlights through our feedback survey is that participants were inspired and hoped to become a better fixer themselves, or that they were glad that they had the opportunity to meet more like-minded people. Someone shared that it excited them to see the community come together and help one another out. It's not just participants who gain something from these events, but our fixers and volunteers have expressed the joy they feel by being a part of these events. We had a fixer share his experience with repair. He explained that when he was younger and growing up, repair was just a part of life. If something broke, getting something new was not an option. He learned a lot of skills this way. In the present, he has noticed how younger generations don't have the knowledge or a grasp on how to approach repair. Because of that, he thinks repair exchanges are super important, and he loves to be involved and pass on skills to future generations. These skills allow us to rely more on ourselves and less on big manufacturing companies. Another fixer explained the thrill she got from trying to repair challenging items. She worked at our fabric station and found it fun to teach others the best sewing methods and hacks. As a person who loves to give back to the community, when she received her honorarium for helping, this was money given to her as a thanks for volunteering, she used the money to host a community event at her affordable housing complex. It was a pumpkin carving event, and she bought all of the pumpkins and tools for others in the building to partake in the activity. It was great to see that Repair Exchange Calgary directly inspired more community events, which is exactly what we want to happen. We want to activate our neighborhoods by connecting people together and inspiring thoughtful conversations. Unfortunately, community engagement can be difficult. Everyday life leaves people feeling busy and tired. Everyone has their unique responsibilities and worries. Time can often feel very limited. I have experience working in community development, and I have seen firsthand how challenging it is to engage others due to time constraints. I often hear that they would love to volunteer or be involved, but they simply have no room in their schedule. Although they would like to be engaged in different levels of community, there are barriers to becoming involved. One of the barriers to people repairing their items is time and convenience. To reduce that barrier, Arusha Center is aiming to have more consistent events spread throughout the city of Calgary. In 2023, we hosted a total of 6 events. In 2024, we are aiming to host 16 events, as well as additional repair events at affordable housing sites. With the amount of events increasing, it will allow more people to readily choose repair as an option. By having ongoing events at multiple locations, there is consistency being built within communities. Now when they have a broken item, they know they can hold on to that item and bring it to the next event. This creates resilient communities that use collective action to address their needs and challenge climate change. And climate change needs collective action when addressing its challenges. This is highlighted within an article titled Mapping Climate Initiatives and Climate Policy in Metro Vancouver. as our individual efforts alone will not be effective at creating structural and policy changes that challenge climate change. Repair exchange events act as an entryway to getting involved within the community. It has an initial incentive that interests people, fixing your item, free of charge. As more and more repair exchanges are scheduled to take place, I asked an expert on the best way to reach as many folks as we can. He suggested that we have themed repair exchanges in order to be more inclusive. An idea he shared was hosting a repair exchange at a women's center. The reason for this example is that often repair can be seen as something stereotypically masculine. I have talked to a few people who think they can't repair anything, and it's just not possible for them. However, that is just not true, but it can be daunting to approach new skills, and there are people who don't fully feel comfortable in masculine spaces. Hosting a repair exchange at the Women's Center promotes opportunity, diversity, and inclusivity for all people to participate in the program. And themed repair exchanges do not have to be limited to gender-specific events, but can include different communities, like the queer community, or a repair exchange based in a different language. Within the repair exchange program, we understand the importance of having diverse and inclusive fixers. There is no limit to the opportunities that are possible. In search of more ideas to enhance the program, I had a conversation with a Cree knowledge keeper and asked how and if repair exchange fits into efforts towards decolonization. The answer was a resounding yes. Because of the nature of repair exchange trying to use and reuse materials for as long as we can, it fits within traditional teachings within Indigenous cultures. Prior to colonization, a key value that Indigenous groups held towards the land was to respect it and to only take what you need. Whenever anything was taken from the land, there was intentional effort in using every last bit of what was taken. There was a relationship between the land and people that was heavily honored. In fact, there was also this rule that when it came to matters of the land or resources, it was important to think 7 generations ahead, which is something we should all think about when we consume items and resources. How will this impact the future? However, from what I have seen, I think we have become incredibly disconnected from our environment. We don't think about where the stuff we buy comes from or where it goes once we're finished it. The knowledge keeper acknowledged that this was a form of colonial ways of thinking. Take a moment to reflect on your connection to the land. Oftentimes, humans view themselves as almost separate from nature and environment. In fact, we think we own nature. We believe that taking endless amounts of resources from the planet is our right. We also do not think that our actions matter or have any impact. While it is important to create change at the higher levels in policies and in government, it's also important to create change at the community level. Oftentimes, community support is what allows policies and bills to move forward. So if you think your actions don't matter, and your neighbor doesn't think their actions matter, and their neighbors don't think their actions matter, then whose does? Companies profit immensely off of climate apathy. They want you to think there is nothing that can be done because it doesn't require them to change or become accountable to their own actions. They much rather use methods of greenwashing, in which they change their packaging to reflect more sustainable processes. However, when you investigate, you learn how little the company has actually done to address climate change. They just now make it look like they care. Consumers need to be mindful when purchasing products from companies due to false advertising. We as consumers hold the power, and we need to recognize this more and more. If we collectively decide to no longer support a business, their profit will fall, and in order to increase their profits, they will bend to the demands of the consumer. However, people question how much change this will produce, and return to colonial ways of thinking, where we consume and dispose. We should embrace Indigenous teachings regarding the land so we can create new connections and understanding to how we view the land. Instead of viewing it as something that we own, it is something that we are a part of. We are a part of nature, and we need to learn how to respect and balance our current ecosystems so we can create sustainable futures. This is important because as we move forward taking action in climate change, we need to embrace and explore multiple ways of knowing. We will be unable to come to the answers alone, but together we are able to create unique and innovative ways to challenge climate change. Repair exchanges fit into that by challenging colonial norms and embracing themes that fit in traditional teachings. Choosing to repair your items instead of buying new ones is a way of appreciating the value of the item and the resources it took to create that item. Repair Exchange Calgary is aiming to promote our need to leave our current systems behind, a linear economy, and transition to a new one, a circular economy. This can be done through a multitude of ways, but throughout this podcast, we have emphasized the power of repair throughout the events that are hosted. When we connect skilled members of our community to others, we enable many opportunities to learn and grow from one another. Even though the concept of achieving a circular economy may seem very out of our control, as consumers, we do hold power. We can choose the items that we buy. We can challenge the way we typically use our items. Instead of throwing away and replacing your item, try fixing it. Or you can even try to make something new from it as well. There are ways that we can be an active member and change. Challenge the way you consume your item. Don't ditch it, fix it.
Thank you for listening to the Climate Action and Advocacy on the Airwaves. We hope you enjoyed your time here. This project was undertaken with the financial support of the University of Calgary's Mobilizing Alberta Climate Action Grant Program. We are broadcasting on 90.9 FM CJSW in Calgary. I would like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. The City of Calgary is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 5 and 6. Thank you, and I hope to catch you on the airwaves soon.